Hi, I'm Stephanie Jaworski of joybaking.com. Today we're going to make pumpkin chocolate chip muffins, and this is what they look like. These muffins are so moist, and the flavor, you have pumpkin, you have the complementary spices of ground ginger, cinnamon, and cloves, and then kind of like I call the secret ingredient, if I break one of these open, is chocolate chips. I know most people think chocolate pumpkin, a little unusual, but really it tastes so good together. So the first thing we need to do is preheat our oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 180 degrees Celsius, and then you will need a 12-cup muffin pan. Now there's a few ways you can do this. You could line your muffin cups with paper liners, which I often do, but sometimes, like what I'm going to do today, is I'm just going to grease my muffin cups. Now you can do that with butter, or I'm just going to use one of these non-stick sprays. Makes it really easy. And just spray. And then, when you're using these sprays, of course you tend to get it on the top of your muffin pan. What I do is just take a cloth and wipe that excess off, because I find if you don't, then when you put the pan in the oven and bake your muffins, it tends to burn and kind of messes up our pan, which we don't want. So for this batter, if you have an electric stand mixer like I have here, use your paddle attachment, or you could use a hand mixer like this, or you can even use just a wooden spoon and a large bowl. First thing we need, this is kind of like we're making kind of like a cake batter. We're going to use the creaming method, so we're using butter, which of course adds a lot of flavor to these muffins as well. So you will need a half cup, which is 113 grams of butter, salted or unsalted, whatever your preference, and have it at room temperature. And then I'm just going to beat the butter just until it's nice and smooth. And next we need sugar. You will need 1 cup, which is 200 grams of granulated white sugar. And as always, I'll scrape the bottom and the sides of your bowl as much as you need to make sure that all your ingredients are mixed together. Kind of just a general rule there. And then I'm just going to beat these two ingredients together until they're thoroughly mixed together, and then they're kind of light and fluffy. We want a little bit of air in the mixture. Okay, that looks good. So what you have, it's kind of got lighter and then a little bit of air, nice and fluffy. So the next ingredient you need is 2 large eggs. Have those at room temperature. And then I always think everything tastes better with vanilla. So I am adding 1 teaspoon of pure vanilla extract. If you don't want the vanilla flavor, because there is a lot of other flavors, you could just leave it out here. Okay, and I'm just going to beat this until everything's all mixed together. Okay, that looks good. Scrape everything down, make sure it's all mixed, especially the bottom of your mixing bowl. It seems to stick on the bottom there. So then in a separate bowl, I have 1.5 cups, which is 195 grams of all-purpose flour. You may know that as plain flour. And then I'm going to add 1 teaspoon, 5 grams of baking soda, a half a teaspoon, 2 grams of salt. I prefer either a kosher salt or a light sea salt. I find it's a milder flavor than your regular table salt, but whatever your preference is. And then I have 1 teaspoon, 2 grams of ground cinnamon, and a half a teaspoon, 1 gram of ground ginger, and I always like cloves and pumpkin, so I'm adding 1/4 of a teaspoon of ground cloves. Of course, you can adjust that to your own personal preference. Some people don't, some people really don't like ground cloves. And if you don't, then you really could leave that out. So I'm just going to whisk all these ingredients together. You want to make sure, especially that baking soda is mixed into your flour, because otherwise, you know, baking soda, if there's clumps, it can just have make your muffins taste a little bitter, which we don't want, of course. So then I'm just going to add that, and then, of course, we're making pumpkin muffins, so we need pumpkin. I'm adding 3/4 of a cup, which is 175 grams of pure pumpkin puree. You can buy that in a can. Just make sure you buy pure pumpkin puree that doesn't have the spices added. They do sell it with the spices, so you know, you can always turn your can, look at the ingredients to make sure it just says pure pumpkin. And just add that. And I do, if you look in the recipe I have on the site, if you want to make your own pumpkin puree from like pumpkins, I do have the instructions in the head note on how to do that. And then chocolate chips. I'm going to add 1 cup, which is 170 grams of chocolate chips. You can use either semi-sweet, bittersweet. I mean, you could even use white chocolate chips, milk chocolate chips, really whatever you like. And I'm just going to mix everything, everything together. And we're done. So that's it. If you find you make these muffins and you really like them, and then you kind of go, I'd like to make this into a loaf, you could. All you need to do is just, you know, grease a loaf pan and pour the batter in, and I would bake it about 50 to 60 minutes or until the toothpick inserted into the center comes out clean. So it's another way you can use this batter. So now, you want to fill your muffin cups evenly with the batter. You could just use 2 spoons, or if you saw in the other videos, I love these ice cream scoops. It just makes it so much easier. And just fill them evenly. Okay, that looks good. Let's put a little more in this one. So now we're going to bake our muffins somewhere between 18 and 20 minutes, or until they're firm to the touch and a toothpick inserted into the center just comes out clean. Okay, our pumpkin chocolate chip muffins are done. Don't they look gorgeous? So I'm just going to let them cool in the pan on a wire rack, and when we come back, we will try one. Okay, so let's try one. So, as you can see, I mean, isn't that beautiful color? And then the chocolate chips, which of course I have to have. Those really are tasty. They're kind of buttery. They're so flavorful. They're moist. I mean, that pumpkin with the ground cinnamon, cloves, ginger, and then chocolate chips and pumpkin. If you've never tried that combination, you know, you have to try it, because I just think it's really great. So, of course, muffins are at their best the day they're made, but you could cover them, store them for a few days, or really you could just pop them into the freezer. So until next time, I'm Stephanie Jaworski of JoyBaking.com.